Welcome to our latest exploit in Layouts of a Lifetime. And I'm in the company of a dear old friend, I think I can say that, can't I?
Don't tell everybody, Tony.
Dave Shakespeare, very famous in many ways, particularly over his layout, Tetley's Mills. Now, I better put the rider on this. This might be the last time we actually see Tetley's Mills. We won't go into this great detail, but you're considering building a successor.
I'm hoping so.
Right.
I mean, that sounds a little bit of a contradiction when the viewers see the layout. But we're hoping to build another house.
Yeah.
Of course, like every self-builder, we're fighting the planning department. But if we're successful, I'm hoping to build another house, and the new layout, I can assure you, and everybody else, will be even more interesting than the current.
And we can feature it in BRM, I hope.
Well, in fact, Tony, if you really want, you can come and help me dig the footings out.
Right, okay. I have to say, I think he's loony you can see we're in this wonderful room in a beautiful garden, in a place that he built himself, and you'll see very soon an exceptional layout. But anyway, Tetley's Mills is renowned, I suppose. It was in one of our competitors, I have to say, and I'm very, very delighted that we've now got it within the pages of BRM, and it'll be on DVD. So it's been going a while, hasn't it?
Yes, the first Tetley's Mills was built, it was finished in September 1997, and in fact it came out in the magazine on the day, which was quite a life-changing day, on the 20th of September, when Julie and I had a very serious motorbike accident.
Gosh.
And I've been fortunate to have taken early retirement. I'm pleased to say that I'm more or less fully fit, but it has given me the opportunity to spend even more time modelling Tetley's Mills.
But building Tetley's Mills then has taken that time, because the first one was Eton, wasn't it? Which is rather dramatic.
Yes. Well, we found little piles of sawdust, and Julie's father's a cabinet maker, so she identified it straight away as woodworm. And I thought first of all it was in some reclaimed timber we'd use for the supports, but it wasn't the case. It was actually in the plywood base, which was new timber.
New ply, but
it hadn't come in after the railway was built. It was actually brought in with the ply, and because we didn't know where the ply was used, we used more than one sheet, I agonised for several weeks, and eventually I decided we'd have to strip the whole layout down. And you said earlier I'm mad, and I don't disagree with you.
Loony.
I am a loony, and you're right. And people said the same about that layout. Why get rid of a good layout? But I saw shortcomings in it, quite a few. And I said at the time, yeah, it will get destroyed, but the next one will be even better. Yeah. And I can assure you that the next layout after this Tetley's Mills, I'm hoping will be even better and bigger.
Right.
And bigger.
So it may not be an entire layout of a lifetime, it's a layout of part of a lifetime. Anyway, Dave, we'll go and have a look if we may, please.
I think we ought to do that.
Thank you. Well, Dave, it's instantly recognisable, Tetley's Mills. Now, I better ask the question, Tetley's Mills, why Tetley's Mills?
Well, I've seen some interesting names in the magazines, and I've seen some, I have to say, less interesting.
Daft, you mean?
Daft or even naff.
Right.
And I thought, well, I don't want to call it a town. Now, what's synonymous with Yorkshire? And I can think of nothing more synonymous than Tetley's, a nice pint of Tetley's.
And you mean synonymous?
Synonymous, yeah.
Synonymous.
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 Let's get that right. Carry on.
And of course, where there's muck, there's brass.
Yeah.
So we have to have some mills. Tetley's Mills. And that was the name. It was something that came to me about 12, 13 years ago. And it's likely to remain.
Well, it couldn't be
forever.
It couldn't be anywhere else. I would be astonished if I were looking at an archetypal Great Western branch line called Tetley's Mills. It just wouldn't work, would it?
Well, it wouldn't work anyway, Tony, because it's weathered.
It is weathered, yes.
It is mucky, but believe you me, it's not really mucky enough.
So the natural, if that's the right word, colour of the local stone is a sort of creamy sandstone, presumably?
Yes.
When it's sort of quarried or...
Well, if you go up there now, you can't imagine that it was ever anything less than pristine, because they've cleaned it up. There's the Clean Air Act, and it is a nice buff browny cream coloured sandstone, but in the steam period that I operated, 1958 to about 62, 63, it was this colour.
Standing in front of what I suppose most people think of as the archetypal Tetley's Mills view, and you'll see on the stills where I've tried to capture on stills the essence of this. Now, this is so typical, isn't it, of a mucky canal and black bridges and viaducts and what have you. Now, earlier we saw the terminus of Tetley's Mills, or we stood by it, and we'll certainly see it again. And this is the line that serves the terminus, and this is on a stone viaduct.
Yes.
And the line, which is the through line, is on a steel viaduct, a steel bridge.
Yes.
That then is the chronology, that was added later.
Yes.
That line was built later.
Well, that was built, Julie and I did the Dales Way, and in actual fact it was inspired by the Little Northwestern that went from Skipton, I think, up to Lancaster, and there are some beautiful cast iron bridges. Whether that's an accurate bridge for the Great
Oh,
Northern,
it's cast iron then?
well, it's supposed to be cast iron, but I mean, this is Tetley's Mills. It doesn't actually follow a script. If I see something that I like, or even something that's downright ugly, I've got to do it.
It all fits, though, doesn't it? There's nothing here, to me, and looking over the whole layout, that shouts out that it doesn't belong.
I think there's a generic building, yes. I can't honestly say that there's anything that's based on a specific building, particularly down this end, but I've got quite a few books that feature the West Riding, and I look at the picture and think, well, that's the way it is. You know, I mean, for instance, they used to paint above the door lintels and the windowsills. I mean, you'd cringe now if you're an architect.
Paint the stone lintel.
They used to paint them to try and add a little bit of brightness to their lives, and that's why some of the buildings have got these painted lintels, and that's how it was in the 60s.
So this is based in late 50s, early 60s, your childhood period?
Well, it's when I was a spotter.
Right.
And that's what I remember. But I have to emphasise, I certainly don't look back with nostalgia and a desire to go back there. It was a part of my life. At the time it seemed okay, but you wouldn't want to bring your grandchildren up in a period like that.
here we've got Tetley's Mills in front of us, the main, well, not quite the main street, but you've got one or two quite imposing buildings here, more so than the cottages. I mean, this is the main mill, isn't it?
Yes. We've got the main mill, which again acts basically as a back scene, and also a raison d'etre for Tetley's Mills. And we've got a group of buildings. Again, this is over the continuous running line. We would have had one more building, Tony, but as you can see, the Luftwaffe visited during the war.
Yes.
And they took out our chip shop.
Oh, right.
And we've never really forgiven Hermann Goering for that.
No,
but it has
no.
made quite a nice scenic...
Well, the
sort of
Teutons
prestige.
knew what would hurt the most, sort of take out the chip shop.
Well, that was that. It's a wonder we won the war.
Well, quite,
Fortunately,
yeah.
there was probably another chip shop round the corner, and there's certainly no shortage of pubs in Tetley's Mills.
Dave, this has been marvellous. I've seen this layout, I'm sure you know, on many occasions, and it's been my privilege to photograph it, not just for BRM, but also for rival magazines when I was an independent. But you really have captured it. So I hope the viewers of this DVD have enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed making it, and your company. So I think your delightful wife Julie might have some goodies for us. So should we proceed there then?
Absolutely.
Thank you ever so much, my friend.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah. Anyway, look out for the next one. I'm not sure what it'll be, but it'll be something just as interesting, but very, very different. Dave, after you, and thank you.
Thank you very much.